everyone. Welcome to Relentless Talk Radio Special Edition with Darrell Hornbacher from Midas Financial. What we're going to be talking about today is the small business disaster relief loan that is available for small business owners who are having a rough time getting through this COVID thing. So Darrell had posted on his page this week.
Yeah.
Darrell and I've been for a while. Had posted on his page. He had some additional services. Hello, are you there? Okay. So Darrell just thinks he lost the connection, but he'll get it back. So we are waiting for Darrell to get his connection back on. He lost connection. It's his first live broadcast. So we're going to be talking with Darrell about. There you are. Do you see us?
Yeah, I'm there.
Hi, we lost you for a second. No big deal. So Darrell, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Small Business Association loan.
Okay, sure. So I run a company called Midas Financial. I've been doing this. Heck, our 16th anniversary will be in exactly 10 days.
Wow.
We found out recently we're the oldest unsecured loan broker in the nation, which, we weren't at one time, but there's been a lot of fallout in the industry back in the crash and everything. But yeah, we're the oldest unsecured loan broker, and so we kind of play on that notoriety. We do mainly unsecured funding for people, but we also do SBA loans. I think we did like 220 of them, and equipment leasing. And if it has to do with capital being infused into a small business, we're involved with it. And so that's kind of what brought us where we're at today.
So this is really crazy what we're all experiencing with COVID-19. All of our businesses are really, having to make a little bit of a pivot. And so the Small Business Association has this economic injury disaster relief fund that they've opened up. And I've been talking to some of my friends who've been applying for it. And there's been over 400,000 people who applied so far. So as people can imagine, the website is a bit stressed. And in order to really get the website to work correctly, you have to be doing it at 3 o'clock in the morning. 55,000 people, you told me earlier, have been returned for errors so far with this loan. So the first thing I want you to do is to tell us what this loan actually is, and then we'll talk about who should think about applying for this.
Sure. So there are numerous disaster loans that the SBA sponsors. This one is an economic disaster loan that's geared specifically for the economics of a small business, payroll, having to pay rent but no revenue, and things of that nature. It's the first time it's happened in an awful long time, and it's been interesting to say the least.
So this is something. What was the last time they actually created this loan? It's been a long time. Was it in the Depression, or was it?
It's been over 50 years since.
Wow.
I mean, we did stuff. We did a similar loan when Katrina happened back in 05 or 06, whatever it was. That was also a disaster loan, but it was a different classification of a disaster loan. So this has just been new. Everybody is. Our experience with Katrina loans has helped us, but it's still new, and so we're just wading through the process with the SBA and with our clients and stuff. We had really kind of stayed out of the fray for a while just because of the complicated procedures you have to go through. And we had so many of our good customers call and say, Darrell, please, we know you know this and help us. So
right.
we just started doing them just to help people, and it's a great program. It is a government program, so read into that however you want to read into it. But at the end of the day, you are going to get some money, and the money is at incredible rates and terms and conditions.
So the interest rate is about 3.75 on these loans. Am I right?
Yeah, so there's 2 tiers. One is for nonprofits, because nonprofits qualify for this also. If you're a nonprofit, your rate is 2.75.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is, and a lot of people don't know that. So if you have nonprofits, that are not getting their normal donations, but their expenses keep going and things like that, this loan will is available to them.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it is. So those are at 2.75. The for-profit companies are at 3.75, as you said. And they are, and this is something I've never seen. I've been doing this SBA stuff for a long time, but they're stretching these loans out for 30 years in some
Wow.
cases. Typical SBA loan is 5 to 10 years with maybe a 20-year amortization schedule. But these, it's they're going as long as 30 years, which I find amazing. And it kind of lends to, the amount of destruction, economic destruction that we've actually went through or are going through. The biggest thing is, a,
Oh,
I'm sorry, a lot of loans are for more retail oriented businesses, restaurants, things like that. And we found that a lot of those people are living from hand to mouth as it is, and taking on another
yeah.
payment at the end of the month is going to break them. So the SBA, in their wisdom, and God bless them for doing this, they said, okay, we've got to charge for this money, but we're going to charge a minimal amount, and we're also going to stretch the payment out and amortize it out for as much as 30 years. So
Wow. Crazy.
$50,000 loan over 30 years might only be 150 or 175 bucks a month,
And you
which
can always pay it off sooner than later, right? There's no penalty for payment early, right?
absolutely. But you know what? If I was getting one of those loans, borrowing money at less than 4% is
Crazy.
insane. And I would hold on to that money as long as I could. I would make those payments over 30 years personally.
So this is not like free money. You really need to have to qualify for these loans, right? This is the same process that you'd be qualifying for a loan pre-COVID. So you're going to have to provide your tax returns, the length of time your business has been open, your credit score, and other items that you would normally provide, like your bank statements and that kind of thing, for this loan, right? So you kind of have
Yeah.
to have your ducks in a row.
Yeah, so let me clarify that a little bit. The SBA is not a four-letter word. The SBA is actually a small business owner's best friend. So I want to get
Right.
that out.
Awesome.
Uh, but they do have, people think the SBA is the ones giving them money. SBA is really, in normal circumstances, just a guarantor for a bank. So a bank gives you a loan, and 90% of it is guaranteed by the SBA. So if you default, then the SBA will come in and cover the cost. So
Okay.
the if they give you a loan with 10% down, theoretically they're not on the hook for anything because they got your 10%. The SBA does the other 90, so they're good. Um, but there's still a qualifying procedure, and that does take a credit. They do look at your credit. In this case, they're going to ask you for 1 or 2 years of business tax returns. They're also going to make you sign a 4506T, which gives them authorization to go to the IRS and verify that the tax returns you have provided are actually real. It is what it is. After that, they're being very lenient. You still have to have time in business. You still have to have revenue. You have to prove your loss. If you go in, and I bet a third of the calls that I've got so far are from people that were trying to game the system, believe it or not. Which is, well, it's what it is. The bottom line is that they're relaxing the restrictions somewhat, but you still have to go through the program. As far as credit goes, if you happen to have a subpar, by subpar, I would respectfully say below 620, as it relates to a business loan, they're still going to look at you, but you need to be stronger in other stacks of the stack chart. Let's say.
Right. So Are they going to suspend the interest on this for a while, or is this the interest?
I haven't been told that directly by our SBA contact. However, I am hearing various stories out there from my peers that they are giving an interest free and a payment free like 90, 120, 180 days. So basically, they're saying, we're going to give you money to pay your employees or pay your rent or your light bill or whatever. And we're not going to make you repay any of this money for a certain term until your business can get back to normal. So whether that 30, 60, 90, 120, 100, I don't know what that
Right,
is. I
right.
have not, well, I've heard things, but I haven't been told directly.
So when we were talking earlier, you said that there's 55,000 as of this morning that were returned due to errors. And
Yes.
I've filled out a couple of loan applications in my life. I've had a couple businesses, and it's a complicated procedure. And if you haven't done it before, there's definitely some things that you can do not right and get a return. So, in the value to the listeners who may or may not be able to afford to hire you for your services, can you give them some ideas about areas they need to be careful of making mistakes in?
Yeah, sure. So the biggest thing is be honest.
Whoa, yeah,
Go
don't
figure.
lie.
You
Right,
know,
okay, check.
these documents are going to be reviewed and underwritten just like a normal loan. So be honest. Make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. If they ask you if you screw up the application, erase it and start over. I mean, and, and everything needs to be in proper order or it's going to be returned. The problem here is I really don't think they're going to turn anybody away. But if you figure that this is going to be limited to the 50 billion that is the number being thrown out right now, and they've already got 400,000 applications that they've accepted. So that gets pretty skinny if they're going to hand out money, you know, knowing that there's some companies that might be applying for 2 million bucks.
Right.
So I personally believe that they'll add more money to this. They did in Katrina. They came out with a small amount of money and ended up, I think, quadrupling it. I look to see this be probably a half $1 trillion before it's over. Is it would be
Wow.
my if you look at and that's a layman or a street level perspective, but just go down the street and I know the local restaurant pub where we go out to eat 3 or 4 nights a week. Um, you've got 17 servers that are using this as a full-time job. Okay, and that's one little restaurant. That doesn't include the cooks, the people that clean the building or anything. I mean, it's a reverse trickle down. So trickle down actually does work, contrary to what many people believe. Because you see it, it isn't just up at the top; it's the people at the very bottom that are struggling and struggling the worst. I mean, our person that waits on us all the time. We gave her a big tip last Friday before it closed up. And I'm like, if you need help, please call me. I'll help you. You can clean my house, whatever I can do so you can pay your rent. That's all we care about for you and your two little girls.
And
But
that's
the
what these SBA loans are really helping business owners to do, is kind of bridge the gap between when they get their feet back on the ground. So what
yeah,
you guys are offering is for $500. You hire two people that are dedicated to this task. You'll help people to fill this out so it's done correctly, so they don't get rejected.
yeah. So and let me be crystal clear about this.
Okay.
Uh, You can do this yourself. Everybody listening to this program can absolutely do this yourself. If you have the time, if you have the patience, if you have the skill set to do it, I encourage you to do it yourself and I encourage you to do it sooner than later. But if you don't have the time or you don't have the skill set, the SBA allows people like us to charge as much as $4,500. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Agree. And I think it should be felonious, in my opinion. We went and looked, our costs are somewhere per file between $380 and $600. And so we just looked at it all and said, hey, one size fits all. We're going to charge $500. We're not doing this to make money. We're doing it to pay it forward for the blessings and benevolence that has been gifted to us. And, we want to help. And we're also there. You're more than welcome to give my phone number out. If people just have a question, hey, I'm on line 17 and I just have a question, am I going to be able to handle 5,000 of those calls? Probably not, but we're doing whatever we can. We're putting in our 16-hour days right now.
So go ahead and give me your telephone number. I'll make sure that I've got your website scrolling across the screen, midas-financial.com, and your phone number is?
Is 303
Huh?
513 8664. 303 513 8664. It's a Colorado number, but I live in the glorious state of Arizona, and I'm looking outside at the palm trees right now. So.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. And next, and your beautiful new home next to the water with a new baby. That's awesome. I think there's a lot of people that are in the position where they just had a new baby and they have a new business, and this is something they're absolutely applying for. I was talking with a new dad this morning that was applying, and he said that he got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then he had to take care of his baby. When he came back at 6, the site was down for maintenance.
Was he up with the time I was? Must have been.
Right, it must have been the time for babies to wake up, right? So it has the site is being stressed right now.
It
So
is. It is being stressed, and I do. Before we run out of time, I do want to say one other thing or make one other comment. The SBA is, like I said earlier, is the best friend of a small business owner. However, like any federal government organization, they have challenges, and getting things done on time can be a challenge.
right.
All know that. So without being too, intrusive or obtrusive of them, they're doing their best. The times on these loans, you might get approved in a week, but you might not see your loan for 25 weeks. I mean, some of these deals, there's people that come autumn are still will have been approved, but are going to be waiting for their money. For those of you listening that are truly in trouble and need cash, I would really strongly encourage you. There is money in the markets right now. There's unsecured money that you don't have to pledge your house or your business or your car or your firstborn daughter or whatever. There's plenty of money out there right now. We have seen no constriction of the traditional money sources. Um, I would encourage you just to, as a, to be fortuitous enough to not count on that money for at least 30 days and look elsewhere if you need it. And there's plenty of money out there. You can always use that money on a temporary basis and then pay it off with the SBA money when the SBA money comes.
So I think that it's smart to apply for these either with your help or without, and to then work plan C, D, and E too. You can't be certain that you'll get the loan, and you don't want to put all your eggs in that basket. And you also want to apply for other things so that you can get money coming in when you're waiting for that money to come.
Yeah, I mean that's just that's called pragmatism in my book. You
Right.
know, I'm not trying to sell anything. I mean, you know me. We're busier than we didn't jump into this for a whole month because we're so busy right now. We're doing it because we need to help people. We're doing a lot of different things with traditional funding to help out and. Yeah, the pragmatic thing to do is to explore all your options right now. It's like I was on the phone this morning with a roofer in Seattle, and the money he wanted was going to cost him almost $30,000 in fees. And I literally sat there trying to talk him out of it. He said, Darrell, that's the cost. I mean, this is a guy that has 100 employees, crawling across roofs in Seattle. And he's like, Darrell, 30 grand is the cost of doing business to me. But if I get put out of business, and Seattle is, like the epicenter of this stuff right now. He's like, if I get put out of business, do I lay off my 100 roofers, or do I keep paying them? And this is I'm looking at that 30 grand in fees as an insurance policy that I'm buying, so my people will be able to eat. And he went ahead with the loan. I'm like, okay, that's great. And that's a great attitude to have, and remembering everything is relative, even for those of us that aren't $11 million roofing companies. Just plan accordingly. This is all about planning right now. This is going to end, and I think it's going to end sooner than everybody thinks, but you're still going to have some recoil for the next 90 days or so, without any doubt.
So, basically, if you're planning on filling this loan, your biggest thing is to be honest, because lying on a loan like this actually is a chargeable offense. You could actually be arrested for lying on a form like this, correct?
I've never seen it happen, but I warned somebody about that just this morning.
Yeah, it is a chargeable offense, right?
It absolutely is.
So lying's not worth it because jail sucks. Right? So tell the truth. You're more likely to get approved if you tell the truth also, obviously. And if you want some help with applying for the loan to make sure that your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, and you have the extra $500, Darrell and his team are more than happy to help you fill out the form. But they're also willing to help answer questions. So if you're having a hard time getting through the SBA, try 303-513-8664, and Darrell and his team will try to help you out.
Yes.
Darrell, I'm so proud of you. I think it's really smart business, quite frankly, to be a generous person in a downturn, because eventually all these businesses are going to get their feet back underneath them, and hopefully they're all going to grow, and they'll call you back at a different time to get a loan, like an $11 million roofing company when things are different, right?
It's how I live. We've been incredibly blessed, and we're just we're doing what we need to do, and what everybody needs to do. This isn't, we're not doing this for notoriety. We're doing it because it's what America does. I mean, it's just what so.
We pulled together. So, Darrell, I really appreciate your time. When I saw your post, I texted you and I said, "Hey, let's talk about this on Relentless Talk Radio. I think there's some business owners that might be interested in this." There's definitely people that I think sometimes people think they need to be a big business to apply for something like this. But you said earlier this morning that really everybody should apply for this loan, even if your credit is a little funky. You never know; you might actually get under the wire.
I call this the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker loan.
So basically, if your credit is kind of yucky, maybe your balance statement is a little different, maybe your bank account's different, you might be able to make up for a funky credit score in other areas, correct?
I think they're relaxing a lot of restrictions. Normal SBA, they go down to a 620 now. It used to be 640, but with the proper collateral and business plan, they'll do a 620. And I just don't want to publish false information. Um, I'm hearing of people in the 580s that have already got approved. And 95% of the business owners in this country are 580 or above. So that puts you in a pretty positive looking pool to get some money.
So Darrell, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for hiring the two folks to help, small business owners get this done. I am a big fan of yours, and I thank you very much for your time. And I look forward to seeing what happens on the other side of this. There will be another side of this, and there's always ups that we can't even imagine will happen afterwards. So for all you small business owners out there, you just keep your chin up, and then you just gotta roll your sleeves up and get to work and be a scrapper, because scrappers are the ones that are gonna make it through this.
It's America. That's what we do.
Yeah, we roll our sleeves up and we get stuff done. Thanks a lot, Darrell. Kiss your wife for me and the babies. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. So there's my conversation with Darrell Hornbacher from Midas Financial. You can reach out to him at midas-financial.com, or you can call him at 303-513-8664. To all you small business owners out there, I'm getting a chill as I said this. I was raised by a small business owner. I've been a small business owner my whole life. You are going to get through this. You just have to have yourself a good cry, have a little hissy fit, get discouraged, and then wipe yourself off like you have 100 times before, and figure out what you're going to do to keep your doors open, and you're going to make it through this. Applying for an SBA loan, applying for a hard money loan, reaching out to family members that might have some reserves, batten down the hatches. Call your folks that you're renting from, all your vendors that you're working with, and see if they'll give you a forgiveness for a period of time. Just try to not let your head take over and panic keep you in the rabbit hole. Okay, you need to just pick your head up, clear your mind, shake this stuff off, and go to what's next. What's the next right thing? And the SBA loan may indeed be that thing. So go take a look at the website, and if you need help with it, midas-financial.com or 303-513-8664 to talk with Darrell and his team about how they can help you to not have that loan ejected. So I hope you guys are all doing well and you're staying safe. Thanks for your time today. And if you know anybody who's not on Facebook who would like to hear this interview, you can go to Relentless. You go to youtube.relentlesstalkradio.com. That's the link to my YouTube channel. Again, it's youtube.relentlesstalkradio.com. So youtube.relentlesstalkradio.com. I'm going to be finishing this interview and loading it to YouTube right away. So thank you guys very much for tuning in, and good luck, everybody. I know you got this. I know you got the grit and the stamina to get through it. And on the other side of this, it's going to be a really big win for those people that are able to weather the storm. And those of us who maybe have to back up and take a little bit of a hit. I've been that business owner before. I opened a business during the recession, and it was tough. So my heart goes out to you during this time. I'm hoping that you're all going to make it through. And for those of you that don't, that are having to close your doors or to lay people off or having to make some really tough decisions, know that you're going to survive that there's a win on the other side of this, and try not to let it unravel you, okay? All right, everybody. Have a good day. Take care.